Greetings to all my fellow watch enthusiasts on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else this video will be seen and shared. Celine Driver once again, coming to you with another, the last of the three Zelos State of the Collection videos for the midpoint of 2022. First video was just the ZX chronograph portion of my Zelos collection. Video 2 was all the Zelos that were not ZX watches and not dive watches. Hope you enjoyed those videos because this is the dive watch video. All these watches seen here are considered dive watches by Zelos. Got a lot here, so let's just kind of dive right into them. Start with the one-offs, if you will, the watches that I only have one of in my collection. Let's start back here with the big boy. The biggest watch in my collection in terms of thickness is my Zelos Abyss Generation 3. Version 3, however you wish to call it. This is the blue one with the turbine running second hand at the 6 o'clock. You can see that little red tip right there. That's your second hand indicator. And as the watch runs, it's a little dusty, isn't it? As the watch runs, it rotates, looking like a low-speed turbine. This watch is rated for 3,000 meter water resistance. It is a big watch. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, this is 20.5 millimeters thick from the domed sapphire crystal down to the screw-down case back. It is a big piece of equipment. Surprisingly, it does not wear terribly big. I mean, obviously, it's going to be kind of hard to fit under a long sleeve shirt, but it does fit under a sweatshirt. Uses the older style Zelos double fold clasp, fully milled, micro adjust. You have 4, and beautiful artwork of a submarine going into an abyssal trench. Great watch. I don't wear it as often as I could, but I do wear it. It does wear very nicely. Or you definitely know you're wearing a watch when you wear that watch. Next up, I have a sort of a hybrid watch. This is a Thresher with the green dial. I love it. I had one with a blue dial as well at the same time, but I did sell that off. This is a combination of dive watch and GMT watch. There's your GMT indicator there. Data indicator at 3 o'clock. The bezel is actually very cleverly done, where it has on the inner track of the bezel is your dive watch, and it is unidirectional because it is a dive watch. So typically, GMTs are bidirectional, but because this bezel does double duty, it's unidirectional. And on the outer track, and it's very small, but if you see on the outer track of the bezel, you see the GMT indicators. So the watch is a very good all-arounder with a custom GMT rotor. You can see the globe is sort of engraved into the rotor, which is kind of a really nice touch. Still a dive watch. It is capable of, as you can see, 500 meters. So a good dive watch. I have a Horizon. This is the, I'm sorry, wait a minute. This is not the Horizon. This is the, I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on this. It is a forged carbon dial, as you can see. Thresher. No, not Thresher. Black tip. Jesus, it's right on the watch dial. I am getting old, folks. I am sorry. This is a black tip. I actually don't have a Horizon anymore. I actually gave the Horizon I had to my father for Hanukkah last year. It was the Aventurine dial, and he loves that watch. But this is a black tip, and it is the Forged Carbon Special Edition black tip. Really, and it's forged carbon on the dial as well as the die bezel, and it is a die bezel. So technically, I guess that makes it a die watch. It was marketed as a diver. I also have up front here, I have a Spearfish. This one I'm borrowing from my father. I put this on a rubber strap so that both of us can wear the watch. It originally comes on a bracelet. I really like the fact that it's a Rishi. You know, I've been a big fan of Rishi lately. And the green really does match up well with the green of the watch. This is basically a swordfish style watch, and you can see the lineage of the case design in this swordfish, although I think that this is smaller, it's 40 millimeter. But it does have the Lejeune Perret Swiss movement inside instead of an ETA in some of the older swordfish watches or the more current Seiko movements. Beautiful antique green. Fairly pretty movement. Really looks good. Great watch. I might wear that later. Let's see. Where do we go from here? How about my DMTs? My two DMT watches. These are... am I holding it upside down or did this thing stop? That thing stopped. How about that? That's not good. Must not have wound that one good enough. Anyway, this is the DMT with the date window and without. These are more old school Zelos watches. They were some of the original die watches that Zelos put out. And I bought one, and then I decided, well, you know, I've been collecting whole collections lately, so there's only two I really needed, so I picked the dated one. I believe was the first one. The no date was the second one I picked up. I have my Makos up here in the corner. This is a first generation Mako. You can tell the first generation because of the very small crown. This one is also stopped. They both stopped the same thing. Boy, I need to get on winding the watches, don't I? This one is kind of unique in the fact that the meteorite dials were originally only made with the black bezel insert. Elshin experimented with putting a blue bezel insert on 3 watches, and it never made production really, but I did manage to buy one off of Elshin because blue is my favorite color, and managed to grab this one, and this one's been hanging around in the collection for quite a while. As you can see, I have fitted it with the optional bracelet, which came later. I have 2 third-generation Makos. I had a second-generation Mako, but somebody wanted to buy it from me, so I sold it to him. This is the mother of pearl dial. And over here is the crystallized dial. You can see the crystallization in the dial. So I really think it's a very, very attractive watch. Let's see, over here we have my swordfish. I have a titanium swordfish here with the meteorite dial and meteorite bezel insert. These are the 42s. I did play around with some 40 millimeter swordfish, but they just didn't fit as well as the 42s, so I ended up selling them off. I love the swordfish case. I really like the angular nature of the case. And of course, you got to have meteorite. If you own a Zelos, you got to have meteorite. I have one of the, what they call the Damascus Light. These were, as far as I've been able to tell, these were kind of not really a mistake so much from Zelos, but the blue meteorite didn't really, you can see it really doesn't show up very well as a meteorite dial. It's kind of heavy on the coating. But it does have a titanium Damascus bezel insert, so that's why they're called Damascus Light. Now, interesting about this watch is this watch belonged to my buddy Random Rob, and he came down to visit. He comes down to Florida during the wintertime from Michigan. Can't blame him. And he was in my area, and he came and we had a visit. He saw my watch collection. We had lunch. We had a good time together. And he was wearing this watch, and I finally just turned to him and I said, I got to buy that. I got to have that watch. I literally bought it off his wrist and transferred the money out of PayPal to his PayPal while he was standing in my driveway. He shipped the box and everything later. And of course, just love titanium Damascus watches. And this is one of my favorites, my swordfish. I actually had two for a while. I had my swordfish black sand dial, and I had this one with the meteorite dial, which originally belonged to my father, but he sort of let me have it for a while. I put it on this blue Ishii mesh bracelet, which is easily adjustable, so that when he wants to wear it, I can just bring it over to his house and adjust it for him and he can wear it. But one of only, I believe, 30 in titanium Damascus with the meteorite dial. Now, let's see, where do I go from here? I've done all those, the hammerheads. Gotta go over the hammerheads. Let's see, I've got 6 of them here. I've got 3 first generations, 2 second generations, and a 3rd generation. I really want to get a hammerhead Damascus, but those are very rare. I'll have to keep hunting for those. This watch is first generation hammerhead bronze with the meteorite dial. This watch is particularly special to me because this is Genesis. This is the first Zelos I ever bought. And the reason I bought this watch was because I saw a watch review done by a friend of mine named Devor. He is a Croatian gentleman living in London, and he is my favorite Croatian. And he reviewed this watch, and I was just so taken by the watch that I got on the Zelos website and I bought one for myself. And obviously, I've owned more Zelos than I have right now. I've bought and sold a lot of them, but this one is Genesis. This is the first Zelos ever purchased. The second Zelos ever purchased was also a watch that Devor had, or has still. This is the stainless steel hammerhead with the Damascus bezel. Not easy to come by. Technically, it's a dive watch, although, of course, without any markings on the dive bezel, it really won't function as a dive watch, unless, of course, you have a dive computer and you're just wearing the watch to wear the watch. But this is the second Zelos I ever bought. I love that watch. I added the bracelet later. And my other first generation hammerhead is the 688 hammerhead. The reason it's called the 688 is because the metal you see, the metal disc here, is was taken from the metal, from some metal that Elshon acquired from the USS Los Angeles, which was the lead submarine or lead boat of the Los Angeles class attack submarines, the nuclear attack submarines. Those were hunter-killer submarines. They were meant to hunt down and kill Soviet boomers. And they were very, very good at it. The Los Angeles was the first of its class, the first of the 688 boats. The 688 is its boat designation number. And it was also one of the first to be retired. And it's long since been, I believe, broken up for scrap. And its nuclear engine reactor has been decommissioned. But he managed to get a hold of the some of the metal from the submarine and fashioned this watch from that. And that makes this watch very special. You can see, instead of a hammerhead, like on the back of this watch, I can turn it right so you can see it properly. Instead of the hammerhead on the back of that watch, you have the profile view of a broaching USS Los Angeles. So that's a very special watch in my collection. Over here, we have a second generation hammerhead. This one is one of the very rare ones with the ETA movement in it, which is shown there. And still the 1,000-meter water resistance like the first generation. And still a very, very big watch with a forged carbon dial. I picked that up from a fellow watch collector, my friend John, who gave me a great price on that, and I was very grateful because I didn't have a second generation hammerhead at the time. I did have this hammerhead, which is a second generation hammerhead, but it's one of the fairly rare chronographs, and I felt like I wanted to have a second generation hammerhead that wasn't a chronograph, which is why I bought that one. But this one is a beautifully done chrono. There were only 50 of them in this colorway, as you can see. And it uses the Valjoux 7750. Still maintains the 1,000-meter water resistance because not only is the crown a screw-down crown, but also the pushers are screw down as well. When they're in this position, they can be actuated. When you're not using them, you can screw them down and get your water resistance back. Very nice watch. And finally, my third generation hammerhead in orange. You see there are some scratches here. That was my fault. I had obtained from Elshon a blue bezel insert, and I was going to retrofit this with a blue bezel insert, but quite frankly, I can't get the bezel off. I tried all the tools in my arsenal. I can't get the bezel to move, so I gave up before I damaged the watch even further. You can see there's because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to bezel removal. So I screwed the watch up a bit, but that's okay. It still wears beautifully. It's still a beautiful piece. I love the sunburst orange, and it looks great. Just wish it had a blue insert on the bezel, but it is what it is. So those are all my divers from Zelos. And as you can see, if you add up all the watches from the first two videos plus all the watches from this video, I have I think 44 Zelos watches. I am on the verge of buying another one from another collector, and of course by the time this video comes out, the what is it? The Vitesse, the auto racing chronograph that Zelos is about to launch. That's probably out by now. I'm going to pick up one of those as well because, quite frankly, I can't help myself. So if you found this video to be entertaining, useful, informative, etc., please give it a thumbs up. Clicking that thumbs up button does help with the growth of the channel with respect to the YouTube search algorithms. Comments, questions, suggestions down below. I do read them all. I do respond to them all. However, if you are going to troll me or you're going to leave links to bad places on the internet, I'm simply going to delete the comment and I'm going to block the commenter. If you're new to the channel, of course, welcome. I'm glad you found the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll take the time to enjoy many more videos that I have to offer. All I ask in return for all this great entertainment is you click that subscribe button at the bottom of the view screen. It's the red button that says subscribe on it. And when you do that, don't forget to click the bell icon next to it so that when I upload new videos or I start a live stream, you will be alerted. Meanwhile, as I always say at the end of my videos, it is a crazy old world out there. It is not getting any less crazy. So I ask all my viewers, subscribers and non-subscribers alike to please stay safe out there, be careful, be well. I'll see you soon.